Alright, so we are going to be taking a look at Season 2 patch notes this morning. I posted on Twitter I'm going to be looking at 6 characters, probably I think the 6 characters that I can speak to most confidently, that I know the most about. That's going to be Gigas, Jack, King, Lee, Miguel, and Paul. I think probably the most interesting notes are coming from Gigas, King, and Miguel, but we'll take a look. What's up, Bo? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so I guess let's get started because I think I'm going to have a shit ton to say about Gigas, so we'll get there right after this. I guess we'll look at the common notes first. Which, from what I can decipher, let me I guess put this out here. I don't know exactly what all of these things mean, so I might get something really wrong. But I looked at them for about 50 minutes before I started, hoping that I could get a pretty good grasp on what everything is. So if I'm just completely wrong about something, you can take me to task for it later. But I think I've got a pretty good idea of what everything means. So generally what we're looking at in these common patch changes is they are nerfing the startup on spring kicks. So in this game they are way faster than they've ever been before. At least generic spring kicks here. So they are making them start up a little slower, which I think is probably pretty good. But it looks like they're also making them get off the ground faster. They also nerfed the damage on some generic back turn moves. 3 and up forward 4, like the hop kick from back turned. Damage on those got dropped. And then some of the generic jumping moves that pretty much the only people I think that use these moves are Ling players. So take that, Ling. And then something with low parry, I guess there was some bug where certain moves weren't hitting after low parry. I'm not sure what that's about. But, yeah, common notes are pretty meh. Not that exciting. It looks like spring kick's getting slower. Sick, because I get hit by spring kick all the fucking time. Alright, let's look at Gigas. Probably the character that no one else cares about, but I care about a lot. So, and he's got a decent chunk of changes, and I can tell you right now, from what I've seen, I don't care for him too much, but obviously we should all withhold judgment until we actually get to play the game. So, his rage art here, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Active frames increase by 1. I don't know if that's going to help it hit more. I hope it's going to help it hit more. Maybe he'll do less jumping over people. That'd be pretty sick. This could be interesting. Recovery frames on his rage drive decreased. So I don't know if that means that you can just kind of charge at people and do nothing easier. I'm going to guess that that's what that means. And I think that's an interesting change. I think that could make for a lot of interesting gameplay, especially right now, say if I did a rage drive from full screen, if I want to get to you, most people know that I have to walk those extra steps and you could just throw out a launcher and kill me. So if I can just kind of walk towards you, stop and block what you're doing, I think that's an interesting change. So this, I assume, and I didn't throw it into a translator, is the same as what they're talking about down here with Goliath. So I'm gonna skip that for now. We'll get to that in a minute. 1-2, they changed to being pretty much launch punishable for every character, which is fine. I mean, that's a Punisher anyway. It shouldn't be getting blocked. Changing 2-jab opponent closer on hit. That's fine. 2-jab is actually pretty important for Gigas. His 2-jab has a much bigger hitbox than his 1-jab. So just throwing out 2-jab is pretty good against some characters that have a smaller hitbox. It hits them more consistently if you're just kind of fishing for jab pressure. I see, and then 2-1, and then the 2-1 transition into his, I mean, I call it like a linebacker, but I don't even know what the actual, like golem, I think is the actual stance. Um, they made it more minus on block and less minus on hit, which is interesting. And then they changed his moves out of that stance, so I think this is all a pretty big nerf. And I guess we'll kind of get into that later, but the moves out of Golem, I think, are crappier now. So, where I just kind of started using this transition a little bit, I don't know that I'm going to keep using it much at all, but we'll see. 3 and 4, they nerfed both of those. So those are, they're both used in wall combos, and they are his tracking mids. So they nerfed the damage on both of those. So they lowered the damage of one of his generic wall combos for 2-1 and then 3. Lowered the damage on that, and then also just lowered the damage on his tracking mids. So that's a nerf. That kind of sucks. Forward 2, they put you closer when you hit someone. So the big swinging arm, closer on hit and counter hit. I guess it makes juggles more consistent. I wonder if 3 will be a launcher. I don't think so. Oh, opponent reaction on counter hit was changed. Yeah, that is important to note. Right now, I believe both 3 and 4 on counter hit just kind of kick him back. Kind of like Marduk's old back 4 on counter hit. It kind of knocks him back and it can wall splat. 3 on counter hit to being a launcher or giving a guaranteed follow-up could be really good because 3 tracks a little less than 4, but it's faster. So it's a little more, and it tracks to his weak side. So changing that to give a guaranteed follow-up could be pretty darn good. We'll have to, unfortunately with those, all the notes that say the reaction of the opponent was changed, we're just not going to know about that, exactly what that means until the game's actually out and patched. So we'll have to see. His forward 2-1-1 string, they increased the input window, so that generally just means that you can delay it a little bit more. Big whoop-dee. His forward 2, forward 1, increased the damage, cool. Added crouch status to forward 2, down 1, so big punch, smack down into his stance transition. I thought that already put people in crouch, but maybe not. I don't. Again, some of these moves I actually don't use that much, but forward 3 they changed quite a bit. And forward 3 is just a knee that on natural gives it into a punch. It's a wall splat move. They buffed that move quite a bit, so I'm going to be playing around with that a lot more in the next patch, and we'll see what happens there. Forward 4 into Goliath, the recovery frames on that, they decrease quite a bit. Again, so some of these things, it's hard to say what exactly it's going to mean for you on paper until you kind of get it into your hands. This, I think, is interesting right here. They changed his forward 1+2 headbutt a lot. That move is like 12 frames. On counter hit, it gives the ogre charge that he had in like tag 2, where he takes you like across the map. And even probably more important, Vanilla 315, thank you so much for the subscription, man. I appreciate that a ton. Thank you. So they've made that move better. It was actually -10. A lot of people didn't punish it anyway, but now it's safe at -9. Normal hit, it gives you a little bit more of a frame advantage, which is cool, and then they upped the damage. This move is really cool because there's certain situations where if you trade with the opponent, you get a free down too. So it's cool to see that they buffed that. It's a move that we can just start throwing out more for counter hit situations. Now it's more like a king back one where you're just minus a ton of frames, you're not actually punishable. So I think that's a pretty cool buff. That's pretty neat. Followers, thank you. Fly Kai, appreciate the follow, man. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Thanks for rising and shining with us. This is interesting, right? So they changed his moves out of Goliath, which affects his rage drive, which affects his normal Goliath. Um, and I'm not sure what I think about it completely. So, Goliath 1. This is the move that I use probably 85% of the time out of Goliath. That's his mid. Especially if like they can't reverse it. This is your safe move that you go to make them block. When you to make sure that they don't duck your high unblockable and you die. They nerfed the damage on it. It used to be +7, and now it's going to be -2, and it knocks the opponent further away. So I think there's a lot there. On open ground, it already knocked them like really far away, right? So I guess one thing that I should kind of talk about is the way that I view Gigas and how he plays. And I was kind of going over that with some people at Summer Jam. Right now, if you look at some of his best moves and the way that the two characters on the screen are spaced after they get hit or blocked, a lot of the time, even though Gigas is plus, stuff like that, doesn't matter. What matters is the range that the characters are apart from each other. And realistically, the mind game that's there is, do I think my opponent's going to swing at this range? Okay, then I'm going to take one step back and I'm going to down 2. Do I think they're going to just sit there? Okay, then maybe I'm going to, while running to them again, push them towards the wall. Or maybe I'm going to run up and do a low, something like that. But even when he's at frame advantage right now, all the moves that give him frame advantage, it's not like I can just do a frame advantage move and it instantly mix you up with a low or a mid. It's not how Gigas is working right now, generally. So I think they might be kind of going all in on that. So here they took the frame advantage away from Goliath 1, right? So the big punch out of Goliath, the mid, knocks your way back. It's going to knock you even further back, and it's going to be minus on block. I actually don't think... Right, Cosby, I think you're right. I don't think the frame advantage going away matters at all. At all. Because even if their back was to the wall, it pushed Gigas so far back that you couldn't set up a frame trap with like down 4 at 3 or something like that. You were so far away still, even if their back was to the wall, that it was still kind of the same mindset. Are they going to push a button? I'm going to forward to them into the wall. So I don't think the frame advantage changing on that affects it at all. But I think it really depends on how much further back they go, because they already went pretty far away. So if they're just like across the screen and there's no mind game at all, they just like, it's basically just a neutral situation, then it's like, ooh, I don't know. So we'll have to see how that looks. The next one is also super interesting. They buffed the damage on his unblockable high a crap ton. Like 12 damage and 15 damage on the charge on the extra steps version is a lot of damage, and it's no longer reversible. So that's huge. Now, I don't know, does that also mean that it can't be punch parried? Is it just reversals like Paul's or Asuka's? I don't know. I'm not sure. Until we get into the game and test it out, that could be a huge frickin' change. So now if you think they're going to go for a reversal, you just hit them with the unblockable and it's more damage than it ever has been. The other thing that's interesting about that is that after fully charged back 2, out of his rage drive, unblockable is guaranteed. So now if people are blocking that fully charged back 2 out of rage drive, they're going to get hit with an unblockable that does more damage than ever before. So that's pretty good. I think that adds a lot of interesting utility back to his rage drive, just for the simple fact that it's not... If I'm against an Asuka, obviously I'm always inputting chicken, but it just makes it so that my rage drive, unless I do like belly flop, I'm just getting chicken damage every time, right? Because they're just going to reverse it, I'm going to chicken it, and that's how it's going to end. But so that's really cool. I think that's going to be... I think that's a buff. I don't necessarily think the changes to Goliath 1 are a nerf. I think it really just depends on how far back those opponents get knocked back now. Alright, down forward 1. Dropped the damage. Made it so you're at bigger frame disadvantage on block, made it so you're at less frame advantage on hit, and it made the opponent closer on block. So I think that's a nerf. I think overall the changes, I mean the hitbox expanded, that's really good, and maybe that's going to hit like AOP now or something, so it could be good, but I think generically looking at those changes, the opponent being closer, that's a nerf, right? So anytime the opponent's in your face as Gigas with big frame advantage, that's really scary. Down forward 1 being really -6, but with the pushback that it had before, there was a lot of situations where you could space it out and you were in a really similar situation to all of his other moves, right? Like they push a button, they've either kind of got to dash in or push a button where you can just kind of backdash and whiff punish. So if they're closer to you on block, that's a little scary. So I think overall, and obviously with the damage being reduced, I think that's a nerf to his down forward 1, which was obviously one of his best moves. So again, we'll see how it works out, but I think that's a nerf. Down forward 2, again, that's his hit confirmable, like pretty hit confirmable counter hit down forward 2-1. So opponent's closer on block, that's already minus a bunch, further away on hit. Down forward 3-1, hits now chains. So basically that means that down forward 3-1 can be used as a, it's the knee into the jab. It can be used as a 13 frame punisher, though I don't know why you would ever do that when he has 1-2. What I think is scary about this change is that right now, say I hit you with down back 2, right? I'm at +3. If I do down forward 3 and you jab, there's a trade. And Gigas right now gets really good follow-ups on trades like that. He can 1-2 whenever he trades with his down forward 3. And I'm worried that now that they've made this chain, that somehow, some way, that's going to make it so he can't do that anymore. I don't know if that's the case. That's speculation. I hope it's not the case. But if it is, yuck. So we'll see. Expanded the hitbox on his dick jab. Great. Nerfed the damage on his down 3. That's like his go-to low. So that doing less damage is not good. It's not good. Down 3-2, they upped the damage on the second hit. So they took damage from the low and put it on the second hit, which is meh. They made it -12. Not good. So that is... that's not good. They changed the reaction on counter hit, so again, I'm not sure if it's going to knock down maybe. Yeah, so that is kind of like a round ender or a mix-up is not going to be as good anymore, because if they block the mid, it's now -12, so everyone's going to get their while-standing 4s. Everyone's going to get, some people are going to get even a little bit more. Dragunov gets his shoulder, which sucks. It's going to be a lot more, make that matchup even more difficult than it already is. So they've made it so you really have to rely more on just throwing out down 3, and down 3 does less damage now. So I think overall this sequence, that's a big part of Gigas' game. So that's a nerf. Kind of a scary nerf. Down 1+2 is his armor move, one of the scoops. They made that's his wall bounce. I think that gives it some utility now, whereas before I don't think I ever used his armor move. So it makes him a little bit scarier at the wall. Down back 2 they nerfed on block, the opponent's closer, so there were situations where you could space it out where certain punishers would whiff. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case anymore, so people like Jin are going to launch it every single time if they weren't launching it every single time before. So that's a nerf. Down back 1+2 is his table flip, the one he gets guaranteed after a counter hit down back 2. Opponent's reaction changed on hit, so I'm hoping that's just standing. Standing right now, that puts them on their ass with their feet in the air like a bound animation. So I don't know what they're going to change about that. Maybe give it some guaranteed follow-up, or as long as it doesn't change what it does when they're on the ground, that's all I care about. Right, so then it is Golem. So his Golem moves, right? They changed these quite a bit, and it's not good. None of it's good. I think these moves are now going to be complete garbage. So Golem 1 was the shoulder tackle that looked mid but was high. Crushed highs really, really reliably, and was +5 on block. So now, now it's a mid, okay, -13, and you're closer on block. So everyone can just block it and punish it. Garbage. Garbage. So obviously it's still going to crush highs. It's still going to have the same utility it did. No, I mean, it's going to have the same main purpose as it did before. Nowhere near the utility. So they blocked that before. You're +5. You're pretty close. You can still kind of get a mix-up. Now you're -13 and you're knocked on your ass if they didn't do a high. Yuck. The mid out of it was -5. It pushed back. Gave you that kind of same Gigas situation. Now it's -8, and they're in your face. So, yuck. So if Golem wasn't already pretty bad of a stance before, it's really not great on paper now. So again, I'll have to test it a little bit in-game, but that's bad. Like, that stance is now pretty... It's definitely a one per customer, preying on ignorance kind of stance now, even more than it was before, but there's just no... There's just no utility in those moves anymore, so that sucks. That's a nerf. Back one. Back one. So that's his big high crushing uppercut. They upped the damage on it, and they made opponents closer when they get popped up, so should be for a little bit more consistency with those juggles there. I think that's a buff. That's pretty good. It's a move that's pretty underutilized, but mostly because it's launch punishable, and people don't know that. But, yeah. So let's see. So back to... This was the same as forward 4. They're saying recovery decreased by 9 frames, so I think that just means that he recovers into Golem faster. That's the thing that I really want to get into the game and see what that means, because I'm not sure, just reading it on paper, what that looks like. Up forward 3 is his jumping knee. That's going to be more on hit now, which is neat. I don't think it's a huge change one way or the other, but cool. Frame advantage on that is higher there. Up forward 1+2. Belly splash. He gets off the ground slower now. Alright. Forward 2. So this is interesting. So this is kind of a pretty big buff. This is what his big uppercut that he uses from range. It's now not punishable at all anymore, and they expanded the hitbox. So I'm thinking maybe this will be even more effective against like AOP and AOP and relax, which is cool, and it's safe now. That's sick. So people like Fang aren't going to be shouldering your ass for this move all the time. Really good pressure by the wall. This is a buff, for sure. Now, it tracks a little less. We'll have to see how much that matters. But, I mean, it's still going to be an advancing move, and those historically have always tracked pretty well. So, unless they completely obliterated the tracking, I think this is going to be a pretty good buff. Forward 3 is like a running knee that you never see because it has no range and it's not that good. Although, changed reaction on hit, whether this move is sick now or not, all depends on what exactly that means. Let's see. Forward 4-2. So this is his big damage counter hit kick into a shoulder. Does like 90 something damage on counter hit. So again, they've made this... They've changed this a little bit. So I think this is where the change from Golem 1 comes in is because they also wanted to change this move. In this situation, it's probably a buff. Because you can now just throw it out a little more recklessly, fishing for the counter hit, and you're not going to get ducked and launched. You're just going to get 13 frame punished. So, by changing that move animation and move properties, they made this better and they made Golem useless. So again, we'll see what happens, but that makes this string better, I think. So I don't hardly ever use this now, knowing that I'm only going to get a 13 frame punish. It is, yeah, it really is. So as long as we still get a beefy damage launcher on counter hit, then I think this forward 4-2 version is going to be better than the old one. Again, so we'll have to see. But I think this, for this particular move, I think that change was a buff. Alright, so this running 2, opponent close round block. In my opinion, anytime you see those words on a Gigas move, it's not great. So obviously he gets frame advantage on running 2. So now if they're closer on block, that means he might actually be able to run some kind of mix-up. So maybe it's good. But again, the whole kind of it changes the mind game. It almost completely changes the mind game of what while running 2 was before. So we'll just have to see. I think without playing with this, I don't know if it's going to be a buff or a nerf. It really depends on how close the opponent is after while running 2. But I think it definitely changes the thinking on what that move was used for. Still going to push him to the wall, still frame advantage, but it's not a matter of am I going to backdash and launch or not now. It might actually be I'm in your face. It might be more of like a Dragunov while running 2, which again, that's not the strength of Gigas' game, being in your face and at frame advantage. So I think that would actually be kind of a nerf, but we'll have to see. While rising 3 and 4, those are both pretty punishable, but they knocked pretty far back, so now it's going to be easier for people to punish those. So that's a nerf. He's got a new while standing 4-2, which means he's got a while standing 13 frame punisher. So that's pretty good. Before he just got while standing 4. So now I assume that raw while standing 4 isn't going to knock down on hit anymore. Now you're going to be able to get this while standing 4-2, which is the move that everyone saw in the trailer. So that'll be pretty cool. They're changing the reaction on counter hit for his full crouch down forward 2. The big slow low. Maybe that's going to give an actual juggle now. Move's garbage. 100% seeable on reaction. So even if it gets a launcher on counter hit, I don't know if that's going to be something I add to my arsenal or not. Decent for scrub killing though, and if it gets a juggle now or something, that'd be pretty cool. And then now his sidestep 2 is a homing attack. The big crazy spinning punch that he had is now a homing move. So he has a homing move from standing, which is not spectacular. So yeah, a lot of interesting changes that I don't think, unless you are familiar with playing Gigas and playing against Gigas a lot, that are gonna mean much to people. I think the big takeaways are that his rage drive is better. His rage drive is better. Has more uses. His raw moves, like his raw moves in neutral, are generically worse. So that's a little bit scary. His moves in neutral are generically a little bit worse. And he's getting... I don't know. I think he's going to be about the same, but I think they're going kind of... He's going to be crappier in neutral, which is where he was already pretty bad, and some of his moves aren't as good for what they were good for before. So whilst like his wall running 2 is going to put him in like a like up close in your face situation more. So I don't know. I think he's different. I think the game plan with Gigas has to change a little bit, and how hard it is to do that or how effective it's going to be, it's hard to say until we get into the game. But he's doing less damage in your face. His mix-ups in your face aren't as good, and they're more punishable. But his like moves like his forward 2, the moves that he's throwing out at range are better now and safer. So they're kind of going all in on his strengths and amplifying, and I feel like they kind of amplified some of his weaknesses. So overall, he's probably going to be in about the same position, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so that probably about wraps it up for Gigas. So yeah, I posted on Twitter that I think he's nerfed. I don't know that he's nerfed, I guess. I think he's different. And we won't really know until we actually get him into the game and play some games with him. But I don't know. As someone who I think, for me, understood the way that he plays, I think it's still a nerf. But we'll see. Jack 7. This boy's nerfed. There's no doubt about that. So let's take a look. Alright. So his rage drive, or his rage art, timing hits wall has changed. Timing opponents at wall has changed. I'm not sure what that means. I guess where they hit the wall after they get hit by that has changed. I'm not sure. Does that give like a guaranteed follow-up now or something? I don't know. This is really interesting. 1-1 changed to chain hit. So if that means that 1-1 is a natural combo now, that's pretty good. So that's a 13 frame Punisher with a lot of range, and he already had one of those with Dump Truck, but like, dang, that's a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure that still guarantees the Megaton upper follow-up. He's going to hurt hop kicks a lot. And you're not going to be as in danger from screwing it up as you are as if you do a raw dump truck in their face, right? He's down 4-3+4 shoulder. So if you do this and screw it up, you're still hurting, but you're not getting launched. That's huge. That's crazy that they gave him a even scarier 13-frame Punisher, especially in open ground, right? Now they're right in your face. Does a lot of damage. 11 plus 25, right? 36. So probably a little bit less than dump truck, but alright. 2 jab, opponent closer on hit. Seems crazy. That seems crazy. That's a buff, I think. I think that's a buff. But yeah, that's good. They mess with his forward 3, which is like a knee. Forward 3, 1+2. The forward 3, they changed the animation on counter hit, changed the animation on the 1+2. They made that string safe, which in Tag 2 and before I'm pretty sure it was a launcher, but they've changed how that works, so I don't know. Since they made it safer, I imagine maybe it's not a launcher anymore, but we'll see. His unblockable's high now, which pretty sure was always an unblockable high. I don't know. Down forward 2, opponent closer on block. That's a nerf. That means it's easier to punish. He's not going to be able to get those max range down forward 2s that you just can't do anything about anymore. So get your 14 frame Punishers on lock because they're going to be easier to hit him with now. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Dump Truck. This is Dump Truck. Down forward 3+4. They nerfed the damage on it. So 1-1, damage-wise, is actually going to be the superior punish. Unless their like back is to the wall. So that's pretty good. Down back 1 is now -12. Which is good. Easier to punish. And now it's only +2 frames on hit instead of +3. So it's always been +2 in previous iterations. In this game they made it +3. Now what I'm curious about is down back 1 into while standing 2 is pretty much unsteppable. Unlike in previous games. So I don't think 1 frame of difference is what made that change. I assume they increased the homing on while standing 2, but I'd like to see that. if the 1 frame of difference makes a difference to whether or not you can step that now or not. If it does, that's huge. If it doesn't, then it's not really that much of a big deal. It just means that now you have a 12-frame window. Actually, it is kind of a big deal. You now have a 12-frame window between down back 1 and while standing 2 to sneak in and move. So if you're king and they hit you with down back 1, you can now back 1. You trade, you get the counter hit launch, and he gets really sad. So it opens up a lot more. Like Magic 4s now are going to be the same thing. So it's a pretty big deal. It allows a lot more options to interrupt that while standing 2. So even if it does track now, it gives more counterplay, which is good. This is a nerf. Pretty big nerf. It makes a big difference. Down back 1-1. Down back 1-1. Okay, great. Down back 2. His big shotgun low is now +3 on hit. So that's good because that move was pretty garbage. It was even on hit. It's seeable. It's launch punishable. So they give it a little bit more utility, which is cool. His back 1, the combo extender, safe on hit now, or safe on block. Little less damage, and then they changed the counter hit animation. We'll see what that means, but and expanded the hitbox, so it might be just another anti-stance move that he has. So cool. Safe on block now. Neat. Back 2, they expanded the hitbox downward, so just more consistent hitting and getting blocked on his back 2, which is a good move. So cool. Back 3-2 expanded the hitbox. I guess that's probably for juggles. I didn't think that was a very inconsistent move anyway, but cool. Great. Jackhammer. Got jackhammered. So damage is down. Homing is decreased. Praise be to Yevon. Jackhammer got nerfed. Let's see how many people still actually even step it. But it should be easier for you to do now. So let's go. Forward 4-4, they changed into a power crush. His big rocket boot. And now it's -14 on block. I don't think that's so good. But I guess we'll see. I don't play a lot of Jack anymore, but having that big power mid from full screen that was safe was always pretty good for like whiff punishing and stuff. Now it's a power crush, which is cool, but it's -14. Yeah, I think that's a nerf to that move. Jack's Death Fist. They changed the damage on it because now it wall bounces. Makes sense. Does less damage, wall bounces. Cool. While running 2 is a little bit faster, and they're closer after they block it, so giving maybe a little bit better of like a slash kick type thing. His full crouch string, first hit, third attack counter hit damage changed to 12, so I think it did. I don't know if that's less or more, probably less. Expanded the hitbox on full crouch down forward 1? Yeah, down forward 1. Yeah. And his full crouch shoulder, the opponent's closer on block. Alright, so Jack nerfed, for sure. I don't think there's a world, unless all of a sudden 4-3 1+2 is just godlike. I don't think there's a world where this isn't overall a nerf, but that 1-1 change is huge. If that is a natural combo now, that's pretty good for him too. So I don't know. I think people have to be really. No, I don't think it's too bad at all. But I think the thing is that people have to be really aware of these changes and really out to take advantage of them. Like that change to down back 1 is really subtle, right? It's 1 frame of difference. But if you know what to do in that 1 frame of difference, it changes his his options after that quite a bit. He has to be a lot more careful. But yeah, I don't think it's too bad. It really depends on how much the homing was decreased on forward 1. If that's just like piss easy to step now, that's a big change. But no, I don't think it's too bad. I think anyone who's been comfortably playing Jack in this game is going to continue to comfortably play Jack and not run into too many issues. And 1-1 could be pretty fucking sick. Alright, King. When I read through these, I probably spent more time on these than anyone else, just making sure that I wasn't losing my damn mind, because I can't find a bad change on here. These are almost all of them are buffs to a character that I did not think needed any buffs. But, alright, so here we go. King. Increased active frames on the... So they did that for a lot of Rage Arts, and again, to be honest, I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess we'll find out. 2-1. His 2-1 Punisher. Damage increase. That's a buff. Cool. 1+2-1 change on midair hit. Not sure what that means. Not sure. Down forward 1. Opponent is closer on block. I think that's good. I could be wrong, but I think that's good. Down forward 2-1, or I'm sorry, down forward 1-2 is now +3 on hit, up from +1. That's good. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, maybe 1+2-1 corkscrews now. Hard to say, but down forward 1-2, +3 on hit. Wow. So they're really giving you the incentive there to throw out that second hit. Now it's -10 still, but now it actually gives you good frame advantage on hit. That's nuts. Down forward 2 on normal hit. Now +4 instead of +3. Great. I mean, +3 was pretty good. Now it's even better. Wow. Okay, more frame advantage for King. Sick. Down forward 2-1. Consecutive hit with delayed second input on counter hit. Now, I don't know what this means, because to my knowledge, that was always the case. Maybe there was just situations where the second hit was whiffing. So I don't know. I thought this was always the case. I read this as saying, even if you delay it on counter hit, it's guaranteed, which was always the case, but maybe they made that even more consistent, which is a buff. Down back 2, opponent closer on hit, so that's his big chop. Means he's going to get more consistency on his juggle, so even at max range, if that hits, if they're closer, he's going to get a more consistent juggle. That's a buff. Sometimes he couldn't get a juggle off a down back 2. Now if he gets it every time, that's a buff. Back 2-4. Throw transition change from only on counter hit to only on hit in the front. So he gets the throw transition on hit, normal hit too. So I don't know if they changed counter hit. I'm not sure, but seems like a buff, but not. You know, you're not throwing that move out all the time. Back 2 1+2. That's the back 2 punch into the headbutt that's high. Opponent closer on hit. Again, if you're hitting them with it, you're already at frame advantage. Now they're closer. It's good. So they changed his back 4, made it a little bit slower, but now it's +2 on block. Opponent reactions changed midair and block. So this move used to transition into back turn. I'm not sure if it still does, but it doesn't say that changed, so I assume it does. But it's +2 on block now, and it wall bounces, and the pushback is decreased. So they made a move that wasn't very good into a move that seems pretty damn good. Good, great. That's his wall bounce move now. It's plus on block. Sick. Up forward 3 is his flop kick. Reaction change on block on last half of animation. So, and then closer on block, so maybe this is easier to punish if you block it. Okay, big whoopty. Up forward 1+2, capital punishment. Opponent closer on hit. More consistent combos off of that move. Buff. Up forward 2, down status happens faster. So that's his big elbow. I'm not sure exactly what that means overall. Hold on, Nicole. Let's see. Forward 2-1. Increased the damage on forward 2-1. Increased the damage on forward 2-1. The damage is increased. Opponent closer on hit. So does that mean Ollie kick is just guaranteed without dashing? So that's fucking nuts. That's nuts. Okay, so that 4-2-1 is even better than it was before. That's crazy. Crouch dash 1+2, blonde bomb, change midair hit, not sure. While running 3, change reaction on hit, so I don't know if that means he doesn't get like a guaranteed ground throw now. So we'll see with that. Sidestep 2, now a corkscrew. A little bit slower, a little less damage, but this was like his consistent move to get out of like Leo back 1-4 pressure. You could sidestep 2 the 4. So that makes, if nothing else, that makes that matchup a little bit easier. Cool, that's a buff. Back towards enemy 3. So his back turn 3. Hitbox expanded. Opponent reaction change midair hit. Not sure what that means. +9 on hit. Less punishable on block. More damage. Buff. Opponents can now tech his up 1+2. Is what this means. So the same way you can tech Giant Swing, up 1+2 when he throws you an open ground, you used to just like sit there and it let him get really good Oki. Now you can tech up. There's no Oki. It just makes it so this throw is really only useful to put people into the wall. It used to have some really fun Oki setups, and now it just doesn't. They can just tech up after it. So this throw, they nerfed this throw. It's only good against the wall now, which is where you only saw it most of the time. People like Majin had some creative shit for open ground, but so that's a nerf. They upped the window to tech Giant Swing. That's a pretty big nerf. They changed it in this game. They made it way harder for some reason. Now it's going to be easier. I assume probably on par with what it was in other games. So, I mean, people like Majin have been playing King forever. They're used to people teching Giant Swing. Every once in a great while, you'd be like, oh, okay, great, they didn't. Now it's been way more frequent. I think that's fine. It's a nerf, yes, but I think that's fine. One of his crouch throws breaks the floor now. Sick. This is just saying that the ground throw version of Giant Swing, also easier to tech now. And sidestep 2+4, I guess puts you in a crouch more than it did before. Not sure with that. So, there's maybe one significant nerf on this whole sheet, and it's that Giant Swing is easier to tech. And there's a whole list of buffs for a character that was already pretty damn good. So I think this is, I haven't read all the patch notes, but this is definitely the biggest surprise to me. I can't believe they just gave King a bunch of buffs. I think that's crazy. But we'll see. Lil Majin somewhere smiling with that big handsome smile of his. Alright. So that does it for King. Lee. Let's take a look at Lee. So this is my for fun character that I know quite a bit about because I used to get beat up by this character all the time. So let's see how they change Lee. So Rage Drive, or Rage Art, expanded the hitbox, so it's probably more consistent in combos. They nerfed his 10 frame punish just frame, which I don't see anyone ever do anyway. So does less damage, it's more punishable on block. Reaction changed on hits. See, I don't know what that means. So maybe it's better. Maybe whatever it does is better with how they nerfed everything else. So I guess we'll have to see. Changes to his standing 3 are huge. So it's now from +3 on hit to +7 on hit, and it leaves the opponent closer. That's huge. Standing 3 was a way that he punished a lot of things. And it was just a really good low or mid poke that tracks. So now it being +7 on hit, that's a big buff. That's pretty big. Let's see. 4-3 hitbox expanded upwards. I think that's for combos. 4-3-4 opponent reaction when hit while down has changed. So I think they showed that in the preview video. Basically, it changes how they react on the wall, gives them a different face down status. So I think that's good. They buffed the damage on Hitman 1-4 punch kick. Opponent reaction on counter hit was changed. So I don't know if they made that. The kick is kind of the same as his 1-2-4, and they made it so you could delay the 4, right? So I think what changed here is that you can do the 1 and then delay the 4, and I think you're going to be able to get maybe a counter hit launch now, which is pretty cool because that is the same kick as 1-2-4, which you can also delay, and they made the window for input way bigger now, right? So that means you can delay it, and the input or the reaction on counter hit was changed. So I think Hitman 1 delayed 4 you can get a combo off of now. So that's pretty cool. Hitman 2 opponent reaction while down was changed. Not sure what that means exactly. Hitman 3, so that's his homing move. His homing armor move. Opponent closer when there was no transition to throw from hit. So there was weird trade situations where they wouldn't go into the throw. And I guess now they're going to be closer when that happens. Hitman 4, that's his big sweep. Opponent reaction changed on hit. So maybe that's going to launch on normal hit now. I doubt it, but maybe. That'd be interesting. Hitman 1+2, which is his mid-mid. Decrease the pushback of the first hit so it hits easier. Second hit expanded downward, so buff. Just make the hitbox more consistent. During Hitman up forward 3, so that's his wall bounce. So that's pretty good. It gives him another option, like a good plus frame wall pressure option that puts him into the wall, which before he really did not have. So he's going to be able to apply some decent pressure now against the wall with like Hitman 1-4, Hitman up forward 3. So that's pretty cool. Forward 3. They increased the range and they expanded the hitbox. So forward 3 might actually be a pretty good way for Lee to whiff punish for a launch now. The forward 3 string. If the first hit is that much better, that's going to be a good way for whiff punishing and maybe even block punishing. He might be able to block punish more things now, like Death Fist. That would be pretty sick if he could forward 3 Death Fist. That's pretty good. So depending on how much the range is increased, that's going to be a pretty big buff for Lee. Down forward 3, expanded the hitbox. Down 3, the damage in it is increased. So does a little bit more damage. Okay, that's good. I mean, it's not bad. His back 3 is like the low swipe into the high, which is like a combo extender. They buffed that, so that does a little bit more damage on combos where you have to use that to pick up. It's good. Back 3+4. That's his armor move. It's less punishable on hit. Opponents further away on block. So hopefully in general, maybe that's not as easy to launch. So it's gonna be better. Up forward 3+4. So that they changed the damage of, and changed the reaction. So we'll have to see. Forward 4. I think this is really interesting. They changed the reaction on hit. I was hoping, I think a lot of people were hoping they were going to change the frame properties of that on block. Doesn't look like they did, but maybe that launches on normal hit now? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Forward 1+2, that's his 13 frame Punisher. Decreased the pushback on the first hit so it hits easier. That's good. More consistent 13 frame punishment is good. Blazing Kick. Blazing Kick, opponents further away, so harder to punish. Cool. Back 4 is now plus instead of minus. Alright. Boy, getting spam called this morning. And then this is pretty big. While running 3-4 is now plus 3 down or up from plus 1. So that's good. While running 3-4, that's a buff. It lets him get in, get more frame advantage on block. And that's pretty good. And then this is also pretty nice. While standing 2-3, down from minus 14 to minus 13. So that eliminates him getting launched by a few characters, which is good. So like Paul, pretty terrible matchup for Lee overall, I think. Now at least if he's going for that comeback or trying his full crouch mix-up, he's not going to get back forward every time he does while standing 2-3, because that was an easy move to look at and punish. So overall, I think Lee definitely got buffed. I think he got buffed pretty good, actually. Again, I don't have the tournament experience with Lee that some people do, but I play a lot of Lee, and I'm happy with all these changes. Is it enough to really make a huge difference? I don't know. I think Hitman Stance is definitely better, and I think Hitman Stance was already kind of his go-to thing right now, with the addition of his homing move, armor move, Hitman 3. So buffing some of the options he gets out of Hitman is going to make that even stronger. And the change to standing 3 is really good. Really good. And forward 3. Forward 3 could be huge too. If they really increase the range on that so that he can punish different things with that, that's great. So I think Lee got some good buffs. Oh, I actually missed a section. I don't know if there's anything that significant here. Full crouch down forward 4. Goes into Hitman. Okay, so if you Silvertail, okay, this could be interesting. Silvertail on hit is different. Maybe it knocks down on normal hit. That could be good. While setting 3-3, that's actually pretty good. His Infinity Kicks is now only -4 versus -9 on hit, so the punishment on that doesn't leave him at quite as big of a disadvantage. So Silvertail into Hitman is not launch punishable anymore either, so they buff Silvertail. And depending on what that reaction is. His while standing 3 is 10 frames, so I don't know what exactly this means. Maybe it's only 11 frames now? I don't know, but yes, his while standing 3 is 10 frames to start, so I'm not sure exactly what that means. But yeah, Silvertail looks buffed, and then his slide is now less punishable, but still pretty punishable. Alright. Yeah, so Silvertail is buffed too. So that adds another dimension to his full crouch game. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Lee looks pretty good. Lee looks pretty good. At least better than he was, because I personally thought he was the worst character in the game. So now he's at least looking a little bit better there. Monsieur Miguel. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, during rage, his rage drive. Closer on block after first attack, reaction on hit of first attack was changed. I don't know what this means yet, but I'm hoping it just means that it's better. I have to hope that whatever this change was, that it's better. Because it made it sound like he was getting a brand new one, and it doesn't look like he got a brand new one. It looks like they changed that, so we'll see. What I really wanted to see was like more damage from that or something, or I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. 1-2-4. So that's jab into a spinning high kick. That's like +3 on block. Looks like they increased the damage on it. Made him closer on block so he can mix up easier, and expanded the hitbox, and then changed the reaction on hit. So overall, that looks really good. Overall, that looks really good. So it's a string. They can duck the high, but still, It's always been kind of a good pressure tool, so that's buffed. Neat. 1, 2, 1 plus 2. Move comes out faster by 3 frames, so 1, 2 into a mid is a lot faster. So if they're ducking this, you can tag them with the mid. That's cool. 3 is now 13 frames instead of 15. So 3-2 is a natural combo. 3-4 is now a natural combo. Wow. Okay. So he has a 13 frame Punisher now. That's really good. Sick. That's awesome. So 3-2 is still, doesn't look like it's changed, so that's still jails. So he still has like a 3-2 you can just throw out whenever you want, and now that's 13 frames instead of 15. But now, when you actually block something, 3-4 is a natural combo. That's awesome. That's a huge buff. Huge buff. Because that move has a ton of range. Ton of range. So that's huge. Awesome. Standing 4 is minus more on block. So that kind of sucks, but it's more frames on hit. So that's actually his consistent 12 frame punish against a lot of moves. Because his 2-1 has no range. So that's cool. His while standing 4 gives 1 more frame on hit for punishment, but 3-4 is, that's huge. Awesome. 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Double axe handle. Less punishable. Closer on block. Alright. Forward 3. Closer on hit and block. When hit, timing opponent can begin to block delayed by 4 frames. Huh. So that's like he has an axe kick that has a really super delayable follow-up kick. What's up, Worm? I'm not exactly sure what that means. The follow-up kick is more punishable, but yeah, I'll have to mess with that in practice mode. Seems good, but I can't really tell. Forward 4 hitbox expanded. That's good. I was really hoping that Magic 4 into Forward 4 comboed not because the hitbox was better, but because the move was faster. But I guess now that we've got 3-4, that's okay. Forward 4-2, they made less punishable, which is awesome. And recovery decreased on hit by 4 frames, so that means that he can react faster after he hits someone with that and apply pressure faster. So that's good. That move overall is, the changes to that move are good. Nerfed the damage on his shoulder tackle by 2. Not a big deal. His down forward 1-1-2 is nerfed. More punishable on block. Less frame advantage on hit. Same with his down forward 1-1-3. I'm not sure why they nerfed those strings, but okay. So the low is more punishable. The frame advantage is less. Okay. Not that big of a deal, but I guess on the mid at the end of the round, if you block the mid, a lot of characters will get a knockdown if they're going for the cheap down forward 1 mix-ups. But down forward 1-2, recovery on block increased by both players by 4 frames. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Both players can react faster, so easier to punish perhaps. I mean, that's what I'm going to guess, is that it's easier to punish. His down forward 2, reaction changed on hit, opponent closer on hit. So I'm not sure what that means. Down forward 2-1, opponent further away on block. Harder to punish. That's good. You probably shouldn't be getting that block too many times anyway. Down forward 2, down 2. -3 on block changed on, the reaction was changed. Again, a lot of this, it's going to be hard to say until we actually get into the game. Expanded the hitbox on his down forward 4. Cool. Down 1 plus 2, lowered the damage. Down 3 plus 4. Ouch. So down 3 plus 4 was his ground hitting kick. That gave the flop over animation. That's now -15. But if the opponent's further away, so maybe it's hard to block or hard to punish. But against the wall is where that move was really good. You want to just kind of throw it out when they're on the ground if you think they're going to stay on the ground. Now they can get up and launch you. So if they block it, so that's kind of scary. That's a little bit of a nerf, I think. But back 3, choppers. Thanks for the follow, homie. Thanks for rising and shining with us. I appreciate it. Back 3 is faster. Nothing wrong with that. That's a really good pressure tool, so it's 3 frames faster. Cool. That's a buff. That's cool. Back 4. Now only minus 13 instead of minus 14. So that's his big armor move. So that's good. Less punishable is always good. Forward, 2-1, opponent further away on block. That's alright. Forward, 2-2, less punishable. That's good. Back forward 1, recovery decreased on hit by 4 frames. And they expanded the hitbox. So I don't know if that means you can get more options after back forward 1, which is this kind of evasive attack. That could be cool. That seems like a buff. Input window change from 16 frames to 18 frames. Oh, so you can delay. His while standing 2 strings, you can delay them more. Great. Alright. So that's okay. While rising 1+2. Got a frame advantage. Oh, let's see. Then his Savage Stance stuff. Savage Stance 1 got a better hitbox. Savage Stance 2 got more damage, which is good for his wall combo. That means his wall combo got more damage. Yeah, the increased hitbox means that, or hit delay means that you can better chance of confirming while standing 2, but I personally don't think that's huge because really that's your 14 frame while standing punisher. I don't think he doesn't have any scary mids or lows. I guess they'll sweep, but out of full crouch, right? So you're probably not mixing them up with while standing 2, but that's good. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. Savage Stance 1-4 is his wall bounce now. So that's pretty good. Savage Stance 4 is his homing move. Counter hit, it's a screw attack, and normal hit, it looks like it got changed too, so that could be pretty good. That's good. Any buff to his homing move is good because people know that a lot of people know that you can walk a lot of the Savage Stance options, so that's good. Savage Stance down back 3, his low out of Savage, that's +5 on hit, now does 3 more damage. That's good. That's pretty freaking good. Savage Stance down back 4 is a homing attack now, and it's faster. So his big sweep out of Savage is a little bit faster, and it's a homing move now. Cool. Savage Stance back 2 is now safe. That's his punch parry. And then it looks like they changed the animation from when you successfully punch parry. So that's going to be better. That's going to be a cool option out of Savage now that no one really uses. It's safe now, and I don't know how they changed the reaction. Maybe it wall splats. Could be cool. Savage Stance back 3 is his fast armor crush, so that's less frame disadvantage now. Then Savage Stance up forward 3, reaction while hit on down was changed. So again, another animation change. Yeah, so overall, I think Miguel got buffed pretty good. A lot of these things, I mean, huge buff to his 3. His 3 being 13 frames, he has a 13 frame Punisher now, is freaking crazy. Yeah, he still has alligator arms, but, like, he has a 13 frame knockdown Punisher now, which is really good. I don't know. I always thought he was pretty good anyway. So I think all of these buffs are great. But yeah, his alligator arms seem to be still intact. But with all these buffs, he can't be worse. He's just still not going to be that fantastic. but making some of his stuff safer, making some of his... I think the biggest change is definitely to his 3. 3 being 13 frames, 13 frame Punisher with a ton of range is pretty good. Pretty good for Miguel. So overall, Miguel, buffed. Excited to play him. Last but not least, unless we want to get some fan requests here, which I could definitely do because I'm going to have a lot of time left over, we'll take a look at Paul here. So Paul, looking a little bit nerfed. Let's see, 3-2, hitbox change downward when attacks hit. So I think just more consistency on his 3-2 for that's kind of the move he uses to punish stances and stuff like that. His forward 1+4, this is what they showed in the preview video. The damage is down, but it guarantees a death fist, just like his back forward 1 does. His forward 1+4 shoulder now guarantees a death fist on hit. So that's pretty good. His down 1-2, distance to opponent decreased on block. So that's going to be easier to punish that stupid string. Fantastic. Down back 2, opponent reaction after mid-air hit has changed. Not sure what that means exactly. Maybe it doesn't flop over anymore. I don't know. Back 1-2, opponent reaction after hit has changed. That probably sucks for Paul. I'm guessing he's not going to get his back 1-2 super unique, super good Oki anymore. I don't know what the change is going to be, but he's going to have to just deal with having a pretty damaging, consistent 12-frame Punisher. But I'm guessing he's losing his Oki after that, which is a nerf, pretty big nerf. Back to 1. This is... looks like they are making that not punishable and neutral on hit. That's fine. Back 1+2. Change after midair hit has changed, so that's his armor move. Not sure what that means. Up back 2. Opponent reaction after counter hit has changed. I'm guessing that means they changed the way... If I had to guess, I would say they're going to be front-facing now instead of on their side, which led to a combo that ended in Death Fist and guaranteed a commando roll. What I'm guessing they did after up back 2 is that now he probably still gets a combo, but he doesn't get a Death Fist ender that guarantees a commando roll anymore. He might launch still. It might launch still, but instead of him falling down, the opponent falling down sideways, they fall down front-facing now. So it just nerfs the damage. He just doesn't get a... I would guess that he's just not going to get a combo that gives commando roll anymore. Probably still gets a combo, though. Could be wrong. Maybe it's just a knockdown. Maybe it's even shittier, but I'm going to guess you just don't get that combo anymore. Up forward 2 is his big jumping punch. Plus a lot. It's faster now, plus a lot on block. Wall bounce on hit. Okay, so that's his wall bounce. I don't know how good that is. It's a really slow move, but we'll see. He probably doesn't need a good wall bounce move, though, because he still has Death Fist. But yeah, +9 wall bounce, still pretty good. Up forward 3, opponent closer on hit, so that's the first hit of a Shredder Kick. So I'm guessing that just means more consistent combos off a Shredder Kick, which is good. Nerf on Death Fist damage decreased from 40 to 36. Big whoop. Quarter circle back 2 on midair opponent, they changed what that looks like. Again, not sure what that means, but okay. His quarter circle back 3-2-3 string increased the damage on the low. Great. Quarter circle back 4. This is pretty big. Only +1 on block, down from +3. And the opponent reaction after counter hit has changed. So, I don't know. That could be really bad. If he doesn't get a combo at all after that anymore or something, that's a pretty... I mean, the frame advantage is already pretty big, but if they also took away the combo, could be pretty nasty. That move might not be nearly as good as it was before. While standing 2, they made faster, which is cool. Faster while standing 2, but not a huge difference anyway because he already had shredder kicks from full crouch. And they made that more consistent at 2, so not huge, but nice quality of life change. Down back 2, opponent closer on block. So he had a wall combo that was like down 1 into down 2, and if the opponent got up and blocked it and tried to while standing 4, it created a whiff situation, and Paul could put him back into the wall. So doesn't look like that's going to be there anymore. So that kind of gimmicky wall combo doesn't work anymore. This is interesting. It looks like his throw that leads into Death Fist hits are now connected. So I assume that means as long as you do the Death Fist, it's guaranteed. Before, you had to do the Just Frame version of the Death Fist, or it wasn't guaranteed. But now, even the shitty version's guaranteed. So he has a throw, a command throw, 2 command throws now that wall splat, and this one, which used to be hard, is now easy. And now if you get the Just Frame version, it just does more damage. So that's a buff. Another throw that puts him into the wall. And his other throw that puts him into the wall is here. Recovery decreased by both characters by 10 frames on hit for faster pace. So that means, I assume that means that after the throw that puts him into the wall, you can react faster, so it's easier to get a wall combo. So his wall game is actually looking beefier than ever. With up forward 2 ways to wall splat with a throw. His wall game is looking juicy. Better than ever, for sure. But his open ground game with like quarter circle back 4, probably not so. And back 1-2, hit confirm, probably not so good anymore. But overall, I think he's nerfed. Quarter circle back 4, that could be a huge change. The frame advantage is big, and if it doesn't give a combo anymore, is going to be big. Up back 1+2 not giving as big of a combo anymore is a nerf. Down back 2, I don't know what the change there is. Back 1-2 is a huge nerf. Most likely. Again, I don't know exactly what the change in reaction is going to be, but I can guess that he's not going to get that weird Oki anymore, so that's a nerf. I think he's nerfed, but I think on wall stages he's going to be scarier than ever. He's got a lot of good options now when your back is to the wall. So, I think Paul players are going to be okay, but I think it's just not going to be quite as mindless as it was before. And that's fine. I think that's just fine. Alright, so that kind of does it for all the characters that I know really well, that I wanted to go through, that I felt pretty confident in talking about, and the ones that I looked at beforehand. So, if people want me to look at other characters, I can probably go ahead and do that. Let me just pull up the list here. Yeah, I don't think you need to go running back to Josie. I think Paul's fine. I think you're going to get a lot less mileage out of quarter circle back 4 after like down forward 1 and stuff. But I think back 1-2, I mean, it's still a really good Punisher. Law? Alright, yeah, I know enough about Law that I can speak to Law, I think. I read on Twitter that it looks like he got buffed, so that's cool. He doesn't have much going on, so let's take a look. Alright, we'll look at Josie after this. I don't know enough about Josie's notations, but you can help me out. We'll look at Josie after Law. Let's see. Rage Drive, Dragon Tail. Okay, so his Rage Drive on his Dragon Tail Rage Drive is safe now. The damage is less, and it's faster. 24 frames actually is quite a bit faster. Eh? Lars, I mean, you gave me that sexy sub. We'll definitely get to Lars then. So we'll do Law Law Josie Lars. But yeah, that's actually pretty big. 24 frames is like right on the cusp of whether or not someone can see that on reaction. So that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. 3-3 opponent reaction on after counter hit has changed. So before on counter hit, it gave you that weird knockdown, right? So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's probably pretty good. Opponent closer on hit after down forward 1 and the increase to his hitbox, that's a buff. So he hits you with down forward 1, he's at like +7 and he's closer to you. That's very good. I don't think people used it law down forward 1 enough anyway, and now that it's better, that's good. You'll probably see a lot more of it. Down forward 3-3-4. Is that some kind of shitty string? Down forward 3-3. I can't even picture that. But so I'm gonna skip over that. I think that's some kind of string. Probably not that good. Down 2-3. Startup change from 30 frames to 24 frames. Hit property change from mid to high. Wait, what? Oh, down 1-3. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, what the hell? Okay, down 1-3. Okay, so the low punch into what was a mid, now a high. But they made it hit confirmable, it looks like. And down 1 is faster now. Hit property changed from mid to high, so the second hit of down 1-3 is high now. It's not punishable anymore. Opponent's closer on hit. And they... okay, so all flip kicks give the flip over animation. Okay. I don't know what to make about this down 1-3 change. You can delay it more. So you can delay the second hit. And the second hit is safe. Wall splats, I assume. So I don't know. Seems like a buff. I don't know if it's that great. Once people learn that they can start ducking it, but it's something. Okay, during Dragon Charge and Fake Step 1-4. Decreased recovery rate. It's a lot of plus frames. So that's his punch into legend kick, right? Punch into legend kick. So that's plus a lot of frames now. Decreased recovery by 3 frames on hit, so Law can react faster after he hits him with it. Let's see. So that seems alright. Dragon Charge 3 is faster. Okay. During Dragon Charge 4, damage increase. 1+2, the Slovakia or whatever. Opponent reaction after hit is changed, decreased recovery time. So that's his like armor move punch. That could be good. I don't know. Because he's safe, but duckable, wall splat still, delayable, so buff. Yeah, I think so. Okay. That's about what I was thinking, but I don't know what this changes, but that could be good after his armor move out of DSS. Legend kick in general is just plus, had its hitbox increased, and it's just plus more frames now. So that's good. Buff to legend kick. Down back 4. Down back 3, opponent closer on hit. That's a buff. So you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot more just like really basic down forward 3, down forward 1 mix-ups from Law players. Which is cool. That's a buff. That's good. Down back 4, so Dragon Tail is a homing move. Down back 4, Dragon Tail into the flip. Again, grounded opponent hit change, so that gives him the flop over animation. Same thing with that. Okay. Up forward 3+4. Had its damage increased. So that's good for Oki. And made maybe faster sometimes. Okay. Okay, flip kick again. 4-4-2-1-3. Reaction on midair opponent has changed. Okay, 4-4-2-3. Reaction. So they changed his couple of his. Oh, okay. Yeah, a 4-3 plus 4. Yeah, I thought that was the stomp. So does more damage now. Neat. 4-4-2. So they changed some of his combo extenders. I don't know what that necessarily means, but they look different in a combo now. Maybe it launches them further or something. 4-4-3. Ooh. So 4-4-3. His armor move, big old mid kick that he ends his wall combos with, is a wall bounce now. That's his wall bounce, is 4-4-3 or DSS 4-3 or anything like that. Alright. While standing 4, opponent closer on hit. That's good. And they made everyone slide to recover, or less frame disadvantage, but I don't think it matters. I think all the slide punishes still are pretty much going to work. Alright, and the big one that everyone saw in the video, sidestep 3+4. Damage increased pretty significantly. Opponent reaction changed on first hit. Active frames of second hit decreased. Okay, so it's -12 now. Second attack now causes a screw on normal and mid-air hit. Yeah, so that's a buff. Obviously. Obviously, that's a buff. Yeah, wall bounce as a power crush is good. Really good. Sidestep 3+4 is just a really good move now. It was already pretty good, now it's really good. Does a lot more damage. It's 40 damage before a combo. So you get 40 damage just for hitting the move, and then, oh, by the way, I also get a combo now. And it's only -12. So, yeah, pretty good. I can't find any nerfs, really. I don't think I can find anything that I'm just like, yeah, this is really shitty for Law. The biggest things that actually jump out to me are the simple things. Down forward 1 and down back 3 both being leaving the opponent closer when you get hit by him. I think that's huge. Everything else I think is fine. Power crushing wall bounce, faster, safer rage drive, sidestep 3+4 being just an incredible move now. Yeah, I mean, I really don't think there's a single nerf on this list. So Law was good, is better, sick. Yeah. Yeah, while setting 4, I even forgot about that one. But yeah, down forward 1 and down back 3, the simple things, right? Like, there's no change to the damage, there's no things, but just like leave those moves leaving you closer is fucking gigantic. Absolutely huge. So, yeah, Laws was good, is now really good. I think we're going to see the whole Law top 3 be a lot more of a reality now. Maybe not, but like he's definitely, I think these changes can easily make him consistently like top 5 in people's eyes. I think that's all really good. Sidestep 3+4 is nuts. Cool. Yeah, Law's a really good fucking character now.